let's introduce some players as we are going to kick off and introduce our yellow Zerg to the top left-hand side of the map to begin with. From Splice, it is Solar. And he is going up against the currently 3 racks Reaping player down to the bottom right-hand side. The Red Terran, give it up for GuMiho. Alright then, so jumping into game number 1, and obviously 3 racks Reaper from the get-go. GuMiho going to play the aggressive game. Drones nearly catching this first Reaper though. That would be an interesting way to start your 3 racks Reaper play, right? As Solar here, a couple links across the map will not do much, of course, because it's multi-racks Reaper, but now he knows about that. And he's able to start making up some more lings. This was a gas pool hatch opening from Solar. As we set on up, and let's have a little bit of a look to see how this is going to be going over the next few moments. Maybe we're just going to throw down a grenade here and have a little bit of a look to see what it can get up to. Let's have a little bit of a look. Going to be using the picture-in-picture to show you some first-person views as the game goes by, give you an idea as to how the players are maybe looking back at home, and let's just see what they're doing as they defend against some of these builds and all the rest of it. And especially the 3x Reaper is one of those very micro-intensive builds from both sides, you know, from Solar and from GuMiho, in terms of how they, how they approach it and what they really look to try and get done. So it's always an interesting one to sort of see, just kind of how the players kind of respond and how they micro and all the rest of that as well. So this one will be keeping up to date on. There's a lot of links coming out. Obviously, this 3x Reaper play basically forces a lot of units, slows down that Zerg eco, while you go into a lot of units of your own in the meantime. So setting up into that as we see GuMiho just trying to trade, and he's going into the 2nd and 3rd CC. So again, very greedy back at home. A great setup for himself as he continues to set up here. And just backing away. So Reapers keep on setting up. They're still sat out here on the map, actually. And they are going to be having a little bit of a look to see what they can get up to. You know, although the Lings are kind of around here as well, currently running through the center. Now they're going to come back. They were looking to attack, but not much you can do against a full wall off as the Reapers do arrive in the base of his opponent. But Solar looking to set up a surround, trying to catch these, trying to trade them out. Still wants to trade effectively, remember, doesn't want to trade too badly, as I'm just going to be seeing the Lings coming in and just going to be wrapping around those Reapers. Not a great position to trade in though, obviously, because it's kind of a choked up area, and because he's kind of got his back to the wall, GuMiho. And it's actually going to be a very good trade. Those Reapers massacre so many of those Zerglings right now. That's a pretty huge sort of feature right there. So that was really sick, because we're just going to be seeing this hatchery. 3rd base coming up. Obviously, delaying the 3rd hatch is one of the big things the 3x Reaper play can do as well. And look at all the advantages GuMiho has. You know, 5 workers down with triple CC up. He's got double upgrades, stim pack, factories on the way. Like, he's so well set up against a Zerg who has no upgrades. A 3rd hatch only 75% of the way done. These Reapers have definitely done their job here in these early stages, and have been doing a fantastic job of it as well. So Reapers have been doing very well. Going to come into the top side, and this hatch is going to start to take some damage, going to start taking some hits, and we'll be taking some damage right now. A couple of Evos on the way. I mean, obviously eventually Solar wants to get into his own upgrades, but man, these Reapers are still just causing such an issue for him. Popping back up into the main over to the right hand side now, and well, going to run forward, going to get a Queen kill to begin with, and now they're in this mineral line, which obviously makes life difficult for the Zerg as well. Can't really easily kind of get into position to do much about it, and as he does get into position, there's just grenades going down to make his life even more difficult. GuMiho will try and clean up a couple last drones here, as finally the Reapers are going to take a leave in this game, and that will be that for now. You've seen the Marines just going to sit in the natural, and again the Ling just poking out the front. Solo going to go for a much larger fight now, or much larger push across the map. He doesn't have to kind of worry about being back at home all of the time, so coming down towards the bottom right, the Bane Nest begins to morph in on the natural, and he has been again very slow down to his tech. Whoa, lifts the racks at not a great time, but it's still okay for him, as he will get the depots down. I mean, he's got enough Marines here to hold on against just the Lings. If it was a bit of a wider opening, then maybe it would have been a little bit of an issue, but as it stands, of course, that's not really the case. So we're not going to be able to do too much with these Lings just yet. And so just backing away slightly. Bane Nest about 75% of the way done. The Lair coming on up here as well over in the main base. And this Zergling again, just having a look to see what else he can maybe get up to. Comes down. Going to take the watchtower for a moment or so. And +1/+1 melee upgrade still coming in. GuMiho very late on the +2/+2, in fact. Armory is down, just hasn't started that next set of upgrades. It is starting to get his third base mining. Again, I think the upgrade lead is one of the big things you got to look at for GuMiho here. He's going to have, maybe not on this 1/1 upgrade lead, but on the 2/2 especially, he'll have such an upgrade advantage to kind of push forwards with and to try and deal damage with. As he just takes a couple medevacs worth of Marines out onto the map for now, looking to try and get out here and looking to try and clean up some of the creep spread, just slow things down in general for our Zerg player. Obviously, the more creep you kill, life becomes a lot easier as the Terrans. So let's drop coming up this side. We see just single Marines spreading out as well, and he's setting up a bit of a wall just to stop run-bys in towards the third base also. Would be nice to see a bunker there perhaps, but may not feel the need for that just yet with the rest of his units still kind of coming out on the map. And this drop so far, just going to pick off a couple Banes, then lifts up and now going to back away. So those Marines are going to back away. More reinforcements coming in towards the center though, as we'll just have to lift up once again. But again, more units just coming through the middle. Like again, he's just going to have plenty, and initial Bane's going to get taken down. Again, Solar was slowed down so heavily, he just doesn't have Bane speed. He didn't trade well at all against this initial kind of 3-Rex Reaper opening. Because of that, he's behind going into this mid-game now. One of the finished Banes gets targeted down, and so all of a sudden, Marines are just fighting Lings. It is even upgrades for the moment as he starts to target down more Bane Lings. They're going to finish up, and so GuMiho will just split away instead. There is nowhere near enough Banes here, and that's going to be GG right from the get-go. Solar picks up... Sorry, GuMiho picks up game. The top left-hand side of the map, our red Terran player from Storm Gaming. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on GuMiho to keep this up and keep himself in a lead in the series. He's going to be up against the yellow Zerg player to the bottom right. And that yellow colour of Splice, I like it. From Splice, of course, then, it is Solar. Open gas pool last game. Generally should help against the 3-Rex Reaper. I mean, initially against the 3-Rex Reaper, he didn't do anything wrong. It was the continued trades against the 3-Rex Reaper that made his life much more difficult and made his life just again difficult to kind of, it was difficult to keep up with the Terran because he threw away so many Lings. And at that point, life does become very, very difficult indeed. As Arius comes in with the Tier 100 and snipes down the bit boss. Thank you very much, Arius, for the Tier 100. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bit of an earlier stream today, of course. A little bit of a different one just because of a little bit of a... Sorry, what was I saying? A little bit of an earlier stream today because this is a Korean-based event. We're actually going to be live on Saturday at the same time. In case you're wondering what's going to be happening for the next week or so from us, we're going to be casting today, obviously, WardiTV Weekly. Tomorrow, we're going to be broadcasting for you guys the WCS EU Challenger League first day of playoffs, or of the main event, I should say. Or WCS Challenger, it's not Challenger League, sorry. Saturday is OSE Community Open, so we'll be back at a similar sort of time as we're here today. Sunday is Go for SC2. Monday is Underdogs. Tuesday and Wednesday we'll be doing some later night casts, and that's going to be covering the WCS NA Challenger Open qualifiers. So that's all going to be going on, guys, in the next few days. And then we're back next week with probably not a WardiTV Weekly, but probably a Season 2 Finals qualifier on Thursday, as we start to set up in towards the Season 2 Finals of the WardiTV Weekly Series. $500 will be on the line, playing out 2 qualifiers and then a 16-man bracket, well, 16-man group stage into an 8-man bracket. Reaper here initially from GuMiho just going to pull in, and drones will come across to kind of try and fight against this. Interesting, he actually pulls drones off the line rather than just straight up... I guess, he doesn't really have much of a choice. He wants to push the Reaper back. And his Queen isn't here just yet. He does have 2 Lings which have snuck around the map, but a Marine comes out from GuMiho, which should be able to fight these 2 Lings. He doesn't step away too nicely. Stops fighting, or stops building with the SCV, which means that he can use it to help fight the Lings, and he will be able to turn it away. Slight delay on the CC then, but the Reaper has actually killed a couple of drones, so far so good for GuMiho. Has been going rather nicely for himself here, so it's been going rather well. And as this Reaper still just sat down, meanwhile we see a Ling just sneak on through in towards the main base, and a couple more Lings starting to come out as well. We actually see the Reaper is going to be coming up in towards the main right now, just getting a couple of kills, and then backing away to sit over towards that third base once again. A couple of Lings are actually going to start coming back around towards that third, so they're going to come down here and see what else they can get set up into. Drone goes down. Sorry, Reaper goes down to the drone and Lings. And that's going to be the third hatchery getting thrown down as well. Good stuff. Dropper Lord coming in from solo, though. What is he planning? I mean, he has pneumatized Carapace. Is he going to lift up the queens, go for a queen drop? Yes, he is. Meanwhile, though, an armory is setting up from GuMiho, so he's going to set up into that armory. He's going to go for a little bit of a Hellbat attack, and generally that would be quite nice to have Hellbats against an aggressive follow-up or aggressive opening here of Solar. Actually doesn't use the Dropper Lord yet. I wonder if there's a specific plan, or if he's just waiting a bit longer, or what exactly the kind of... I wonder if the Overlord's just to kind of lift up units to keep them safe from an attack. I really don't know. What's Solar actually seen? That might help us out here a little bit. He has seen the armory, okay, so probably looking to defend the Hellbat attack and then go from there. Adding on the Spinecrawler will give him a good amount to help him fight at the front. As the first few Hellions just going to run up here and get set up and potentially ready to go. Marines here, of course, will help out, picking off an Overlord already. And as we do just see again, Raven on the way out as a follow-up too. So GuMiho just going in towards that harassment-heavy opening, the Hellbat attack in towards the Raven and all the rest of it just to deal damage early. And keep on going with it as, again, first few Hellbats move in. Spinecrawler will move into position. And we'll be setting up to see what else is going to be going on. Meanwhile, there is a little bit of a counter-attack beginning to set up, going across the map. Some Lings going to be going all the way over to the far left-hand side here. As GuMiho loads up this medevac, though, we'll be looking for a drop into the main while still using, still leave some units on the low ground. There's also got this queen drop going across as well. Maybe thinking GuMiho has gone back home. Here we go. Then Ling's going to run into the natural. There's a couple of Hellions there, so the Lings actually just run straight on through and away. As the Hellbats do morph in towards the main. I mean, the queen drop actually continues to move across the map, though, so that's going to keep on going here. As we do see the units that were left on the third base are going to move in as well to try and do some damage also. So far, only 2 workers killed. The Hellbats in the main starting to get taken down. And still only 2 workers. The Spinecrawler now are going to be helping out. I'm looking to see what else might happen. But it looks as though these units are slowly going down. But again, more Hellions in the main relying on the natural this time. And these are now going to morph into Hellbats and just keep on trading a little bit more nicely. As this does begin to get cleaned up, though, we can jump to that queen drop, which comes in towards the natural expansion. So queen drop in towards the the main base, and he gets a couple of workers, but an order turret helps to push it back initially. Another Raven here too. It feels as though GuMiho is not really kind of running into too many issues with these queens just yet. So just going to see these queens continue to trade it out with these SCVs, and again, Ravens here throwing down another order turret. That Overlord is getting lower and lower and lower. So that's all happening. Meanwhile, we actually have an attack also in the natural expansion, so that's maybe something we can jump on over to. And you can see that these SCVs getting pulled in to fight against the Lings. That's the sort of position we're in right now here for GuMiho. The queen drop is coming in from the top side, and again, still just trying to use these SCVs to block the way. Still up by 14 workers. GuMiho just needs to get enough units up to defend this, but the queens have so many transfuses available. Actually salvages a bunker or something, just so cancels the deep. I'm not sure what. And as a Cyclone comes out, he's going to have another order turret, maybe? No, not just yet. Keeps that Raven at range, does not want the queens to target it down, as Cyclone trying to help out wherever possible. Still these SCVs having to fight, and more of them are continuing to drop as Solar just streams units in towards the main. Looking to see what else he can get up to. These queens getting lower and lower, but I think he might just have enough to break on through and to take us into a game 3. Solar! Wow, more queens actually arriving as well, and that's going to be new transfuses. GG is called, and that is going to be Solar taking game number 3. Who's going to go through the finals? The bottom right hand side from Psystorm Gaming. Our Blue Terran player is GuMiho. And he is, again, I actually thought he'd done enough in that last game, but just couldn't quite ever deal with the Lings. And that, of course, is... and the Queens, I guess, were mostly one of the issues, I guess. The Queens more so than Lings. Kind of creating one of the bigger issues there. Top left-hand side of the map is going to be the yellow Zerg player from Splice. Once again, opening kind of... this time he opens hatch gas pools. Not going to go for the gas pool hatch this time. It is Solar from the top left-hand side of the map. Where's Wardy from? I'm from England, the top northeast corner. Newcastle sort of area. Thanks for wondering. Thanks for wondering, is that a thing? Yeah, sort of, I guess. Why not? Making it a thing. 6 Lings on the way out to help deflect against the initial Reaper, as we do see a factory on the way as well for GuMiho in these early stages. So, It's going to be seeing the Reaper going up towards the upper left-hand side, and again, Link speed is just starting to come on up as well. So Link speed on the way up, and these Lings just sat down on the low ground. So looking to see what's going on, what's happening. Yeah, little bits of damage so far, nothing really too crazy, of course, with this first Reaper of the game. Not really expecting much to happen at this sort of stage. Just going to see the third hatchery coming down in the meanwhile as well, and again, that Reaper just trying to trade with this initial Queen, as we see the starport setting up on the other side of the map as well. Again, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, do definitely hit that follow button. Again, following a great way to see when we go live in the future, and we're live here pretty much every single day, to some extent, with StarCraft 2 content. Some days we actually take a day off and have a break and do some other bits and pieces, but mostly we're here every day, bringing you guys StarCraft from tournaments, casting. Sometimes I play the game as well, and you guys can all laugh at me because of how bad I am. It's pretty fun. So if you enjoyed the stream, again, hit the follow. Again, we're going to be casting. I think we're lined up to cast every day for the next 2 weeks, as I've been mentioning. Maybe Saturday next week is the first day we don't have something lined up to cast, I think. We might even find something to cast at that point, at some point there. So yeah, it's crazy. It's always great to have stuff to cast, of course. It's 2 Hellions, and the Reaper now going to be poking away at the front, seeing what they can get up to. And as we see, some Orlings just on the way from solo, just in case the Hellions try and do a little bit of a drive-by. And in the meanwhile, we're just going to be seeing Cloak on the way up, although he momentarily started to liberate it, but then he actually swapped back in towards the Banshees. So it is just going to be the Banshee play, as expected, with the Cloak on the way up. So set up in towards this initial bit of a drop. Army on the way as well to maybe turn this in towards a bit of a Hellbat attack. So he sets up into that, and here we go. First few Hellions getting set, ready to go in towards the main base here in the next couple of moments. So actually we'll see this with the Lings just kind of running underneath. Means the Hellions can just sort of generally bypass the Queens and get a few shots off before kind of they take some damage, and before Lings do get in the right position. Oh, you can see what GuMiho tried to do there. Try to force those Lings to line up as they ran through that choke point. Doesn't happen though. Solar very well aware of what GuMiho was trying for, and hence is able to deflect it. Now we are going to be seeing some more Hellions coming across the map here. So Hellions moving across. Meanwhile, the Medivac is looking to get set to go back in towards the main. So here we go, unloading in the main base once again. I'm just going to be morphing into Hellbats this time, where, well, again, there's a good amount of Queens, and if he's able to kind of just target down that Medivac instantly, which he's doing so far, then that's going to be a problem. Meanwhile, you can see in the lower right of the screen that these Hellions are morphing into Hellbats on the third base as well. And so now they're going to be just continuing to pick up a whole bunch more damage. So again, I mean, I say a whole bunch more damage. It's actually only 2 or 3 drones. It's not that many, but we also see what else is doing damage. Is it the Banshee? There we go. Found it. Found it in the end. Banshee doing some damage too. As we just have one last Hellbat still down just to the south here, trying to fight away. So yeah, Banshee joined the fray, and it's a few more workers. I mean, more than anything, he's just kind of caught the Queens a bit out of position, and again, has enabled himself to do some damage because of that right now. So that's happening. There is a second Banshee up on the map as well, by the way, which is currently just moving into a position to come and join up with this Medivac and this first Banshee. And the first Banshee actually dying at this moment. There's obviously nothing too special in the end. Sorry, put the income tab up when I didn't mean to. A few more Hellions will be looking around. Behind this, by the way, +1 mech weapons, so we are indeed going to be seeing mech. We haven't seen the extra factories yet, but obviously +1 vehicle weapons is a very good indicator as to what this might be. Again, going to be watching these Hellions go in towards the main base. Queens are going to be taking on the Cloak Banshee down to the bottom right of your screens once again. So that's happening while these Hellbats hit the main. And you can again just see that these Hellbats looking to just do more and more. Medivac goes down, so eventually these Hellbats will probably just get cleaned up. And will probably just be, again, getting shut down in the next few moments. So really not much else they can do, trying to run on in once more. And as they get cleaned up, the Banshee is also just making an escape away down through the center of the map as well. So yeah, nothing too crazy over there. The Spire actually comes up now from Solar, so send up into the Spire. Trying to get that going for himself, and trying to see what he can do with this. Maybe catch his opponent a bit off guard with this Spire against mech play. We've been seeing a lot of Spire play against mech lately, actually. A heck of a lot. We've been seeing so much being used so often. It's a little bit insane. So it's quite nice to see as well, though. You know, it's nice to see players trying it. I just wonder why they're doing it so much more frequently now rather than in the past. little bit of a ling attack here. Meanwhile, there's once again Hellions heading over to the left-hand side of the map, trying to do some damage as well. Queen's in position to begin deflecting them though, so again, they're not going to be able to do all too much, as these Zerglings having a little bit more success in terms of a run by. They're so far picking up about 7 of these workers. As a Hellbat and Hellion comes in, the Banshees will lose out a little bit, and it's also the run by it's just going to get picked off as well here too. It's not really the best of moments there from GuMiho, and bits and pieces just continue to go on. A couple of Banshees left on the third base then, and just going to be seeing what they can get up to. Still GuMiho trying to run around the map as well with these few Hellions, but Muta's now out, and I guess more than anything, sometimes these Mutas are just a good way to help deflect against the constant run-bys as well. Obviously, they're not going to be everywhere at the same time, but they can create some opportunities in some circumstances where it kind of turns out quite nicely. So, you see Mutas running towards the third. The thing is, there is Vikings up, and there's 2 4s as well, and with the medevac here, the 4s can kind of be a bit more maneuverable than what they usually are. So able to kind of jump around a little bit and see what they're getting up to. I see the Hydraless Den is on the way down. We see the Infestation Pit is also being added on. So they're really looking to kind of strive towards the later stages of this game, which will be, you know, Roach Hydra, the Infestation Pit probably just for a fast hive, though it could be for Swarm Hosts as well. Swarm Hosts something we've seen a lot of against mech, and Solar, someone who has always been kind of, you know, very much so kind of focused on, you know, kind of little, kind of a Swarm Host plays in other matchups such as the PvZ. He's been using a lot of Swarm Host play there, so wouldn't be surprised to see him use Swarm Host here as well, but so far, just a hive, just into Roach Hydra Tech. As these Mutas are going to jump on in towards this natural mineral line. Good foreplay though, and that's going to be good defense. Meanwhile, we do see Banshees are actually starting to be a little bit annoying. They actually just poked in and just starting to pull away once again, so they're backing off. Neither player being really too successful with any of this harassment so far. I'm just going to be seeing the Mutas again, just going to be coming in and actually going to start trading with this 4, but again, they were stacked up for a moment and they take a lot of damage. They don't die. Actually, Solar's been doing a very good job. Only lost 1 Mutalist throughout all of this so far, so that's obviously great for him. Those Mutas will come down to the south side again, so seeing what they can get up to, see if they're going to be able to do anything too significant. Medevac's loading up the 4s so that they can try and push around, maybe catch Mutas off guard once more, because again, it's not something you would usually expect. Mutas sort of, you know, 4s jumping out of Medevac suddenly and being on top of your Mutas. You know, one moment it's just 2 blue dots on the minimap, the next moment it's 10 dead Mutalisks, and then you're like, oh, sad face. Like right now, kaboom! The Mutas take some damage, but it's not really that substantial in the end, so it's little bits and pieces. Could go into a bit of a longer game, of course, the fact that this is mech, so we could be in for a bit of a longer one. Do you remember this is our first of 2? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. There the Mutas go down. And that's the power of those +2 4s. But yeah, I was just going to say that this is our first of 2 semi-finals, of course. We are going to be bringing you guys Alive versus Stats as our second semi-final of the day. That's going to be coming up in the near future. And it's going to be just coming up straight after Solar versus GuMiho. So we have another best of 3 and a best of 5 final as well. We're really lined up for a wonderful day of StarCraft here. I mean, it's already been a wonderful day, 2.5 hours into the stream, but so much more still available to us as Roaches, Hydras. Just going to be coming up the left-hand side, and again, with Vipers coming out now as well, there is that utility to really kind of trade against that. These few up here are going to be running away as the Hellions start to come into position. Obviously, does not want to lose them for free for no reason at all, as Four's just going to be catching themselves in the center of the map. As long as actually do end up getting roasted in the end. As Solar being very cautious with where he moves, but just having a little bit of a think as to where exactly he might want to go. Here we go, army starting to collect together in the center. Everything getting set up in the same sort of area right now, so is it going to be enough? I like the Viking number, by the way. It's going to be very good to kind of just get rid of these Vipers nice and quickly. I mean, if you ever need them to be a ground unit as well, they can just land and suddenly they will be very effective and very efficient on the ground, able to trade against that Zerg army continuously, so. Again, Roach Hydra coming down to the south side, again a good amount of Vipers, and they're just going to be looking to see what else they can get up to as well. A couple of, 6 Hellbats jumping into these Medevacs. Probably won't go to drop, we'll actually probably look to just drop on top of the army, try and get them on top of the Hydras or so, just to deal some nice damage very quickly. It's something we used to see a lot of when mech play used to be a thing, but it's not something we see as much now. Anyways, big push in towards the south side here, and GuMiho caught a little bit out of position, perhaps maybe not quite aware of this position, or this fight coming in on this direction. Here we go, the Hellbats will drop on top of the Hydras, but they disappear more or less. And so far, Solo's been having a pretty good time. Parasite bombs dropped onto a lot of the Vikings, getting them low on health, but not quite killing them. Solo backs away. He's already rebuilding, he's already maxed out, and he still has money in the bank. And that's the sort of great position that he finds himself in at this stage of the game. So that's really nice for Solo here. Is for the most part, though, his army just going to be backing away. Meanwhile, we do actually have a couple of Hellions trying to run by in towards the top side. Deflected, though, by a Spine Crawler. And so not really too much else which they can do. Again, the Roaches, the Hydras, going to be moving around the center of the map. We have a fourth base setup. GuMiho is sort of okay-ish here, but he did lose the third CC, so again, a nice trade from Solo, who has the money to just go again. With Vipers having been rebuilt already, this is looking pretty good for him. Hellions will run by to the far left-hand side now, and we'll start to pick up a few of these drones. There's 6, and we'll get a 7th one, and probably a few more as well. There's 8, 9, 11 workers. Really, actually, fantastic play here by GuMiho, just getting a nice little run by off and making the most of it. Really going very well for him. So now you see some Roaches going to be starting to move down this right hand side as well, while the main army's still coming in over to the left, looking to see what he can get up to, and to maybe go for a similar push in a similar location to last time. There's Roaches still around as well, though, and will just be turned away pretty instantly. Again, what can you really do in that position? And if you go towards the natural, you're just going to be in Sense Tower range for so long. There's no way that Solo is not going to GuMiho isn't going to respond to the fact that he sees you there, as Banshees will throw down their cloak to escape the trials and tribulations of Vipers. You might think, well, what are they going to do? Obviously, they could Parasite Bomb, but there's only 2 of them. The damage won't be enough. They could just abduct them into the Hydras, so very cautious play by GuMiho. Has been trading well throughout the game. 2,000 resources lost in his favor in that resources lost tab, which is pretty expected when you've seen Mech versus Zerg, and especially especially like a non kind of Swarm Host Zerg. A Swarm Host Zerg can actually trade pretty evenly with a Mech player, but the non-Swarm Host Zerg does generally trade more inefficiently and is very reliant on just having more bases in general. So obviously this is going to get interesting right now. We have a bit of an army in the center, and even GuMiho pushing forwards, but we do see the drop setting up in towards the main base. So GuMiho has to start responding to that, and now he's going to be kind of tested in terms of splitting his units. However, Vikings are just going to come over and intercept. Let's actually just jump over that right away there, and you can just see that this is going to be an absolute massacre. Vikings getting rid of all those overlords. A lot of units going down before they could be unloaded as well. So it was a little bit of a shame, as it didn't quite go the way that Solo was planning. Good defense by GuMiho once more. Again, it was this barracks that was floating off over to the left-hand side, which just saw those overlords coming in and gave him the opportunity to set up against it nice and quickly. Hydra's currently working their way through those rocks, so that will go down. And well, GuMiho for the first time in a while being aggressive himself by moving out onto the map, but he's going to peel back to start dealing with the army of Solo, which is again looping around, and well, might have a little bit of a base trade sort of scenario on our hands. A couple of Vipers going down instantly. They do throw down 1 Parasite Bomb. It's not that much though. Meanwhile, we do see the army of GuMiho is pushing up towards the top side. So GuMiho pushing up towards the top, and Solo does begin to retreat away from the south. Here we go, GuMiho just going to push in, and we're going to see Spine Crawler taken down, and obviously more and more damage is going to be done. Solo bringing his army around here and getting set up and ready to go in towards this larger fight. But is he going to be able to? Well, big blinding clouds on this ramp are going to be a huge start for him, of course. It's a fantastic way to get going initially. None of these tanks currently sieged. The Solo will keep on pushing forwards, but now they are sieged up. Life is a bit more difficult. A few queens to the south side trying to fight against tanks as well. Currently 3 upgrades against 3 too, so it's pretty even in that regard. But GuMiho now with position on the map will just make life again so much more difficult for Solo. And there's going to be seeing those 4s setting on up and seeing what they can get up to. +1 Flyer Carapace coming in on the Spire, +2 attack for the Broodlords as well, potentially. Well, for the Greater Spire, I guess, for Corruptors, etc. But Broodlords are potentially going to come into the game with that Greater Spire, but maybe not just now. I mean, Solo has to make a defense. GuMiho, both players actually have very little in the bank, so in terms of rebuilding after this fight, neither player is going to really be able to rebuild very much, as GuMiho's army is starting to disappear, but there's only Hydras left and there is more tanks. Solo is closing the gap on the last few of them, some of them still unsieged, which is of course not going to be too pretty. These medevacs should be able to lift them up and get them out of there unless they get targeted down. Oh, this was very close all around. I mean, 120 to 104 supply, and again, both players are so strained in terms of what they have to kind of build with, you know? They only have, well, they really are just so limited in economy. The fourth base down here from Solar is starting to take a beating in terms of how many minerals it has. GuMiho lands a fresh base and will be able to get some minerals, which is what he's missing. He's 1k gas in the bank. He has just been missing the minerals to kind of really spend that, so maybe GuMiho comes out of this in a bit of a better position. It's kind of hard to say. Again, Roach and Hydra here from Solar going to be gathering, I suppose, but he needs the Vipers before he can do anything really, which means he has to wait a little while, and by then there's going to be a whole new army set up from GuMiho, so looks pretty even between both of them right now. As we see again, Roach Hydra just leading the charge slightly, and Hatchery just going to come down to the left-hand side as well. A few more Creep Tumors just spreading on out. Just a couple of Medivacs will come around the bottom left side, and again, maybe try and drop into this mineral line in the next few moments. And just be picking up a few drones here and there. Hydra's, though, very quick to respond, and just gets this shut down pretty much right away. Again, no real issues. No more Hellions to top yet again. Just continue to try and run by, just continue to try and do damage. I guess GuMiho as well, in a way, is just buying himself time to be able to build up into that kind of larger mech army again. You know, the more army supply he has, generally the better position he's in, because he's playing against Roach Hydra. But look at that resources loss, 28.7 to 23.1. We know that GuMiho is going to trade better in these fights, and so if he's maxed out, that's when he's going to trade the best. Because it's, again, he's going to have a lot more kind of high power, kind of heavy damaging units against, well, kind of mid-tier tech basically from Solo, which just disappears. And again, just kind of the maxing out just favors GuMiho a little bit more, I suppose. Well, these Roaches and Hydras still just gathering on up, and I mean, again, Solo's just never really been able to utilize that Greater Spire, for example. You know, he's been very much so just stuck on Roach Hydra Viper throughout the entirety of this game. To some extent, it was his own choice. You know, obviously he went into it, but he needed to. But it was also just the fact that, you know, basically he was in this position where he decided to be aggressive, and so he chose to be aggressive. He chose to attack rather than saying, right, I'm gonna, you know, kind of tech up myself, and that attack has led him to this position now where he's still on the same tech, and again, GuMiho's army is still very much so looking the same as well, but again, there's just so much more of it, and GuMiho in general has just been given so much more time to set up into all of that, so it's been going well for him. As the scan comes down, the Roaches will get cleaned up. And we'll see Hydra's Roaches, a couple of Ravages running through the center, they're not going to pick up a Hellbat there, and in the meanwhile, again, some Hellions up to the top side. He's going to try and run in and do a little bit more as well. Spine Crawler can come down to the left also. And GuMiho's still here with just the tanks. Fours, Hellions, Hellbats, Vikings. There's a lot of good stuff for him right now. A lot of good stuff for him is, again, these Hellions going to run around, see what else they can get up to. A lot of the army from Solo coming down the left, and well, GuMiho's still just pushing up through the center, just again trying to find a position he can get into also in the near future. One Roach going to go down. We're going to get into a little bit of a base trade scenario here once more, perhaps. Actually, GuMiho is just going to start turning around, so he's going to come into this in the near future. And obviously, from Solo, catching the army off guard would be fantastic if he could catch it unsieged. But now, because Solo backs away, GuMiho is going to be able to get into a siege position on Solo's base, so that's going to be awkward. We actually see Vikings trying to catch Vipers down to this south side, and again, GuMiho, what sort of position will he get into? He can't really, I mean, Solo's just about here in time. Viper's going to have to go forwards. He throws down Blinding Clouds where he can, but now the Vipers are pretty much dead, so it's only what he's already got to play with. I mean, the Blinding Clouds are good. Is it enough from Solo? He's pushing on through here, but the tanks keep on firing, and again, initially it looks pretty decent from Solo, but he's going to run out of units, and he's just going to have to rely on some reinforcements. Two tanks to the south, again, just misrallied slightly, are going to get picked off. Solo still maintaining a 20 to 30 supply lead, rebuilding Roaches once again. I think it's just too problematic without Vipers, and I mean, he's rebuilding Vipers, but how long can he really justify waiting before he engages once more? Because he's losing a hatchery which he very much so needs, and he says, yeah, I can't wait, really. He does come in, a few units to the top side will soak a few tank shots and split up the damage, and it's a very open area, so Solo can get a bit of a better surround, a bit of a better spread to minimize the splash. Now these Vikings going down as well, and that might just be a bit of momentum that Solo needs. With two more Vipers that have just come up, he's also going to be able to come straight through the center here, and suddenly he might be able to even to kill off another couple of tanks. And again, maybe GuMiho just doesn't have enough to keep on going. GG. Solar is able to take this, and he moves on through into the finals here today.